From the Great Basin to the Rockies to the four corners of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. Welcome to KMMU Main Street Media Utah. We're coming to you live. We stream on YouTube, Rumble, X, and our website, kmmu.org. Please join our host, Dan Fillmore, for Let's Talk Utah's Dan the Eagle.
Well, I think we're live. For some reason, I couldn't hear the introduction. I guess we have some technical difficulties there. So, Dwayne, if you want to mess with that, that would be great. But here we are. We're so excited to be back. I'm just going to do this on my own then. We had some technical difficulties. Thanks, everybody, for joining for Dan the Eagle. Every Wednesday at 4:30, we are back. We're streaming live on my personal YouTube channel, Dan the Eagle, on KMMU's channel for Main Street Media Utah. And we're also on X and Rumble, and we are on our website as well, kmmu.org. If you want to jump on every single weekday, we have a different conservative talking about the issues that matter to you in the state of Utah and throughout all of the Western United States. We have a great show today. One of my personal best friends is going to be on the show with us today. I've never had him on before, which blows my mind because we talk politics literally constantly. We're going to talk today about the insane judge that got arrested in Wisconsin for trying to block the deportation of an illegal immigrant who was charged with tons of violent crimes. We're going to jump all into it. We're going to talk a little bit about the Canadian election, Jordan Peterson's interview with Joe Rogan that got millions of views, and we're going to talk about the movie that we watched this weekend together, U-571, all about World War II and a submarine, which is not entirely accurate, which was sad to learn about. But without further ado, we're going to bring in my buddy Adam. I do call him Chunks occasionally, so you are going to hear me say Chunks. I already know it's going to slip out. So when I'm saying Chunks, I'm talking about Adam. But let's bring him on in. Adam, welcome to the show.
What's up, Bean?
Oh, yeah, and my nickname is Bean to him, so there's that. I'm taking my gum out because keep chewing it. How's life, Adam?
Professional. It's so good, dude. How about you?
Dude, I'm good. I'm here in this kind of a ghetto room, but I decided to add something to my background. A little guitar action.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, usually
I know we're talking about it later, but
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know we're talking about it later, but my life's been a lot better after watching U-571.
Oh, so true. We're gonna save that for last because we want to save the best for last. But usually I'm down in my home studio. I'm actually in a friend's house today, and so it's a little bit of a weird situation. I wonder if that had something to do with the audio. But I'm really excited to talk about a lot of things with you, Adam. But first of all, let's get to know you a little bit. How did you and I meet? And then talk about your own political journey, where you are at now, kind of what influences your thinking.
Gotcha. So we met when we were doing sales out in Florida. I did 2 years of solar sales, and during my second year, Dan joined my team, and we just got along. About halfway through the summer, we started hanging out a lot more, and then when we left, we lived in the same apartment for a little bit and just got to obviously know each other a lot better. And since then, I've gotten married, so I've moved into my own place, but Dan and I still keep in touch quite a bit. And then as far as my political journey, I talked with Dan about this a little bit when we were out in Florida, that I didn't really think of myself as a conservative per se. I was just kind of like politically agnostic. I just didn't have anything to do with it. And once I started talking with Dan about it, I realized how much of like my beliefs had been shifted, or like, I want to say corrupted by what I heard in the news all the time. So like being in school and stuff, it made me pretty liberal, honestly. And so when I initially talked with Dan, I was generally pretty liberal about a lot of things. But the more I talked with them, the more things kind of made sense, that I had gotten away from what I believed when I was a kid. And now I'm trying to redirect, and I would consider myself a really strong, dedicated conservative at this point.
I didn't know that. I did not realize that you considered yourself liberal. That actually
Oh,
surprises me a
I didn't
lot.
consider myself liberal. I considered myself like just, I didn't do anything with politics at all. But when I was talking with you, like I came to see that a lot of my viewpoints had become liberal over time, or that
Mm.
was just like what was accepted by the general public, you know? I can't think of one off the top of my head. I just remember that
Mm.
I had some ideas that weren't traditionally conservative.
You don't remember any of those specifically?
Not really. I feel like there was like the war on drugs stuff. Like when I was in high school, all my friends would talk about it, and we were of the mindset that it was like, oh, you know, like why don't we just legalize all drugs? So just like that kind of stuff. It wasn't anything super serious. I think I've always been like pretty like pro-life, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just like some of those like fringe liberal things that I started to get into. I was just like, I don't identify this as like a left wing or right wing thing. It was just like a
Yeah.
personal opinion.
I think you make a good point, though. I think that the default position is just going to be more liberal because that's what we've been taught. Like, if you talk about like women in any context, you have to do it with like the utmost like carefulness that you're not going to offend feminists.
Yeah,
If you talk
exactly.
about gay rights or homosexuality, you have to do it in such a calm and accepting way. When you talk about American history, you have to constantly bring up how, you know, white people really aren't that great. Like there's like this underlying feeling that society has pushed down on us that basically you have to kind of go along with like the basic narratives that have been put forward by the left.
Yeah, I would
And so maybe
say
that's what you're referring to. Go ahead.
that's a lot like pretty much what I went through in school is just like it. I'm a generally pretty polite person, and so like the polite thing to do is be pretty liberal. I've found is that it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so like, yeah, let's go along with whatever you think. Okay, like I don't know, since I didn't have like any kind of structural like any structure of politics or like belief system aside from the church that I went to. It's yeah, a lot of stuff I just would go along with it just because that's what the easy thing to do is. And it's being pushed on you by your teachers. A lot of your classmates are thinking the same thing. So you're just like,
Yep.
all right, I'm just not gonna fight on this because I don't know anything about it. So sure,
Yep.
you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And like when the air that you breathe is not traditional, it's not like religious, it's just easy to kind of go along with things. Like I remember when I was a kid, I was 13, 14, and I remember hanging out with some guys who their parents had been divorced, which was not something I had ever heard of. Just because, I mean, I grew up LDS and I never I guess in my church, I'd never seen a divorce. And I remember meeting these kids who had parents who were divorced, but they talked about it like it was a really cool thing, like it was really awesome. And I remember mentioning to them that my parents were divorced, and I actually got teased for it. They're like, "What? Your parents are still together? That's so lame. That's so weird. That's so," and like, and that's just the culture I think that a lot of people grow up in is basically things that are traditional, things that are Christian, things that are normal and healthy are just kind of viewed as like weird almost. Like the fact that I had parents who were still together to these kids was considered a bad thing. And so I think all of us kind of grow up with the default settings of like tradition is not good, Judeo-Christian values don't really matter, and like all that kind of stuff. And so I had the same experience actually. Like I wasn't very political, and if you had asked me at like age 20 or 21, like what do you think about this, that, or the other, I would have probably given some canned moderate to left leaning answer like, oh, well, I don't want people to be offended, you know, just kind of going along with societal currents, right?
Yeah, exactly. I actually had a similar situation with like the parent divorce thing because I had this friend who his parents were divorced like pretty pretty soon off the bat, and like we were always jealous of him because he got like 2 Christmases and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then my parents got divorced, and I was like, it's not sunshine and rainbows. This is not a positive thing in any way whatsoever. And yeah, like meeting my wife and talking with her and like finding out that her parents are still together, it's almost more uncommon to find two people that got married and never got divorced than to find parents who have one or maybe even two divorces under their belts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really, really sad. And I think that you would probably agree with this, but I think that this is why this generation of young men who's coming up is becoming much more conservative, because it's been in our blood, it's been in our culture for so long that you kind of just have to be a certain way, and that way is liberal. And so many men who have this natural tendency to kind of push back and to rebel a little bit, I mean, it just gets to a point where it's too much, right? Where like you're just trying to go to a store in Pride Month, like in June, and there's just gay stuff everywhere. And you're like, what is going on? And you try to just have like a nice patriotic 4th of July, but someone has to talk about how America's horrible. You're just walking down this street and you're talking to somebody, and because you're a man or you're white, people would say like I've had tons of people just be mean to me just because I'm white, and they'll say that to your face. Like, well, you're white, you can't say that. Well, you're white, you don't get it. You're a man, you're dumb. Like, there's enough of those kind of interactions that I think every man, especially a white man, has had that just pushes us like, okay, I was going to be on your guys' side, but now you're pushing too hard. Now I'm going to go completely the other direction.
Exactly. And it reminds me of like when I was in school, and like the cool thing when I was in like middle school to like early high school was like the liberal stuff. It was like everyone is pushing so hard in traditional things, like my parents and everybody. And so you're just like, I just want to do something that's not traditional, and, you know, go and bleach my hair, color my hair, whatever. Just like, and maybe it's for attention as well, but it's just for fun, you know? And that's like that's the, I don't know, unusual thing to do. And so it's kind of cool to do that. But I would agree with what you're saying right now, is that like, it used to be cool to like buck against tradition, and now it's way cooler to do tradition. It's like we went too far, and we're like, hold on, wait a minute, we didn't want all of this stuff. What's going on now? We just wanted like to break the rules a little bit.
Yeah, and it's just gone too far. Speaking of going too far, so we're going to talk about the Trump administration, a lot about what he's doing. But if you had to give Trump a grade at this point, we'll just do a 1 through 10. What grade would you give him?
I'd give him a 7.5, honestly, or like a 7, because I think that his policies on like immigration and Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, I think those are excellent. And that's something that we definitely need to keep on going with. As far as like how we're interacting with the rest of the world, like economically, that seems like pretty negative. I haven't seen like any positive economical changes in America since he's been, or like things that he's mandated that I can see helping us in the future. I listen to a lot of like Ben Shapiro and stuff, so I'm sure a lot of my opinion is based on that. But yeah, it seems like his economics not super hot right now, but immigration and efficiency, top notch.
Yeah, I think that's how most people feel right now. There's like a lot of uncertainty in the market, and especially with us being so reliant on China, that starting a trade war with China is going to make things more expensive. And so that's just going to kind of suck. My issue, I think I would give probably like a 7 or 8. So I'll probably say 7.5. My issue is that he keeps talking about how great he's doing economically, but nothing's gotten cheaper, especially not gas. And I drive a lot for my job. I drive probably 250 miles a week, and I have a truck. So I fill up on gas very often. And gas is basically the same price. And so I'm saying I would give him a 9 out of 10 for sure if he can get gas prices down. But you did mention illegal immigration, and this is where Trump, I think, has has the most approval from the American public, because it's gone from millions of people coming into the country every year to basically zero overnight, right? And the line that Trump always uses is, "We didn't need new legislation, we just needed a new president," which I think that's a great line in my opinion.
So true.
So what do you think about, like, more specifically, like, have there been things about immigration that you've appreciated?
Like reducing immigration or just immigration itself? Or is there anything positive I have to say about that?
You mentioned that immigration was one of the things you were happy about. So kind of explain
Oh,
that a little
gotcha.
more.
So why? Well, I think it's very important that we have people here legally. Like when we talk about the numbers of people that have come here illegally, I'm sure every single one of us have run across a lot of illegal like residents in America. And honestly, it can get really frustrating because these are people that don't speak our language. And again, like we can like try and be as polite and kind as we want, but when we can't communicate and like they don't have our same morals, for example, or they, I don't know, like we see a lot of news about people that are bringing in crime and stuff. Like the type of people that are coming in illegally don't seem like the type of people that I want at my Walmart, which we have a lot of right now. Like every single time I go to Walmart past like 6 o'clock, I can't speak English to anybody there, and it's super frustrating.
Bro, I literally said that on my show last week, that like you go to a store and all you hear is Spanish. It's like,
yeah,
where am I? You don't feel like you're in America.
Yeah, it's super scary as well. I mean, like just not being able to understand them or what their motives are or like what their standards are. Like you don't know if you're just going to get jumped by somebody, and it's not like a racism thing. I would be concerned if a bunch of like, I don't know, French people started immigrating illegally all of a sudden. So
I don't know about French, but like Russia is an example that I think.
Yeah, if a bunch of Russians came in and they're all speaking Russian and I can't even speak English at Walmart, like
right.
I would be very concerned. I'm like,
I'm not worried about French people.
Aren't on my side, you know?
If there's a bunch of French people, I don't know. What are they going to think? But the Russians, I think that's an example. No, I totally agree.
Just to make like the race point, that it's like, it's not that I'm against people that have darker skin than I do. It's just people that I don't understand and that have citizenship somewhere else, and they don't care if America burns to the ground. Like, This is my home. This is where I have had my entire life, and everything is on the line if America goes down for me. For them, it's not the case. It's just another place for them.
It's like going to work for them. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's I think so many Americans think that now, whereas back in 2016, like you still had these Democrats talking about, well, we need to be nice to these people. We need to be nice. But now Democrats, they're not saying that anymore, but they are obstructing Trump left and right. And so here's a story that has come out recently about a woman named Hannah Dugan. She is a judge in Wisconsin that basically obstructed justice. And I've got the clip right here of the AG, Pam Bondi, who's talking to Fox News about this specific incident. She does it in a lot better than I do, so I'm just going to have her do it. Let me go ahead and pull this up. And here we go.
I can't hear it. I don't know if the audio is coming through.
Oh, can you not hear it on your end?
Okay.
Well, let us. All right. Let's try. Can you hear that? Could you hear that?
No.
Dang. Well, that sucks. That really sucks. Nothing?
Nothing, no.
Dang.
It sounds like it's trying to, but it might just be getting feedback from your mic.
Unfortunate. Okay, I'm gonna send it to Dwayne. I'm gonna see if he can't. Put it up.
Dwayne's the man.
Dwayne is the man. All right, Dwayne, it's in your hands.
Coming right up. It's loading.
Okay, thanks. Cool. So,
Crazy
how
weather
about
we're
that
having right now. Yeah. It freaking sucks.
Oh, man.
You don't even get me started on the economy. That's like a whole other thing.
Are you suffering right now?
I think everyone is, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to college right now for
Oh,
software
here we go.
engineering.
Here we go.
And
Here we
that
go.
is notoriously
It's
bad.
coming in. Okay, let's see if this works.
We're sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in
Can you make it big,
2013,
Dwayne?
came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow. You know,
Can't
Madam
make
Attorney
this up.
General, great to have you here, and thanks for
Hey,
coming back on America Report. So we remember these words of Tom Homan, the borders are. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe.
Okay. All right, Adam.
All right. Is that her? Is
Oh.
that the judge?
Yeah, that's her. That's Hannah.
Man,
that's Hannah Dugan. Hannah
Dugan. That's the Dugan right there. I can
That's
see
the
her
Dugan
yelling
right
at some
there.
ICE officers.
Oh, absolutely. So basically, the story is Pam said it pretty well. They're going through this proceeding. This guy's an illegal immigrant. He has a warrant out, and I'm gonna read specifically the things that he's done. So here's what it says. The victim in the Eduardo Flores Ruiz domestic battery case was his roommates at the residence of Milwaukee. The incident occurred on March 12, 2025. During a dispute over loud music, which totally on brand, by the way. That does not surprise me at all. So he decides of wildly and uncomfortably punching the victim approximately 30 times during a violent altercation. Also beating him to death to the point where he had to be hospitalized. This Mexican national, who had previously been deported in 2013, also punched the roommate's girlfriend in the head and arm and shoved her so hard she collapsed to the ground in the kitchen. So, this is someone who was deported from our country once, is playing super loud music, which I know everybody loves, gets asked politely to turn the music off, punches his roommate in the head over 30 times, and attacks a woman. And this is who this Wisconsin judge is trying to defend. And she gets arrested for it. And I am totally okay with it. What do you think, Adam?
Absolutely. I feel like she should face the full force of the law in that case. I mean, it makes me kind of frustrated because if I were the one that did all those things and I were in her courtroom, I have a feeling that I would get no special treatment whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And why does this guy get special treatment? Because he broke another one of our laws? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, so because he's here illegally, he gets some kind of special treatment. That's so weird to me. That's like if I robbed the bank and then, and then I went and did some other crime, then I'm let off the hook for the other crime because I robbed a bank before, and she just happens to like bank robbers. Like what?
Yeah.
That's essentially what just happened.
Yeah, it's unreal. I think that's a good analogy, but like you think about let's just take the simplest thing that it talks about first. If we were playing loud music, extremely loud music, that's obnoxious and in a different language, how do you think our neighbors would react?
Yeah. I mean, if I just started blasting some Japanese or like K-pop or something, I'm sure my neighbors would have a big problem with it.
Yeah. And then he
I think it would be
punches this
totally
guy.
justified.
Yeah, exactly. But I see this all the time where like I remember where you and I lived at like 4 a.m. These people would turn on this Spanish music underneath us. And it was like, okay, can someone tell them to stop? But it's like, oh, I can't do that because, oh, I might be considered racist. Oh, I can't say anything. That's so
Yeah, and so
racist. I can't do it.
we're all expected just to not sleep, and they're blasting it right outside like 40 windows, right? Like there are probably 40 or 50 students that all could not sleep at 4 in the morning because these people decided that they wanted to work on their car and blast music at 4 in the morning. Like blasting music is one thing. Do it when I'm at school or something. I don't know, but like it's almost like they were trying to be as inconsiderate as possible, as in your face as possible.
Yep. And that's the thing is like, and that's the frustrating thing to so many Americans. And I feel this, but there's rules for those who are citizens, especially if you're white, you can't do that kind of stuff. But if you're not a citizen, well, you can basically get away with whatever you want. And you're going to have crazy judges like this trying to go along with it. And the craziest thing is that she lets them escape. She wants them to get away with hurting a woman, hurting another man, and annoying their neighbors. She wants to let it go because this man was illegal. That's the entire story.
It doesn't make any sense.
I totally agree.
I don't get it.
But I don't think that this story is a bad one because even MSNBC, which is extremely far left, is agreeing with you and I. And I have the clip right here. And so it sounds like in this case, I think there's a united front against it from the right and the left that this woman deserved to go to jail. So Dwayne, if you want to play that clip.
Same clip? Wait a minute. Nope, new one. Got it. Coming right up.
So, how about those clouds?
Dude, look at them. Just clouding around up there.
Dude, they're all white. I wish they were brown clouds.
We should shoot them down. Yeah, where's the equality in the clouds?
True, dude. The only time
where's the equality in the dirt?
Whenever there's clouds of color, everyone gets upset because rain is coming soon.
Yeah.
Talk about discrimination.
I know. Everyone loves the white clouds. But the black clouds, yikes.
That's when everyone has a problem.
Everyone loves ice until it's black. Now it's a problem.
Now it's all slippery.
What's wrong with yellow snow, you know?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Dude, white snow is fine, but yellow snow?
All right, make it big for us, Dwayne.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the Justice Department thinks they have a really good position here. Pam Bondi was on television today boasting about this arrest and using language that prosecutors don't tend to use, especially in the pre-indictment phase, not saying allegedly, saying that it happened. And look, I think a lot depends on if the facts are true, as alleged by the FBI agent in the court papers today. It doesn't look great for the judge, no matter how you slice it. But then the other question is, was this kind of escalatory action, was this the best course of action, to actually go and arrest her and take her to court and charge her federally? That's a big step. Yeah, well, I mean, look, the Justice Department thinks.
So there it is, Adam. Even MSNBC says this does not look great.
Well, and it's funny because they might support it as well. They might even You know, some of those people on the news channel might even think like, oh yeah, I would do the same thing, like stand up for like the little guy or whatever. But I think probably in light of this last election, I think a lot of them are kind of coming to terms with the fact that a lot of people don't want to be radically left anymore. Like it's not the cool thing to do. And honestly, the people that they're like catering to are not that plentiful.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think that there are plenty of Democrats and independents out there who see somebody who came into the country illegally get treated with kid gloves and they shake their heads, because these are regular people who go to work just like you and I do and are trying to provide for our families. And we have to pay enormous amounts of taxes. We have to follow the law. We have to do X, Y, and Z. We have to go through all these hoops. But someone who breaks the law doesn't have to, and it's extremely frustrating. So I think you're right. I think that the Democrat brand is kind of becoming kind of lame, and it's like, why are we? People are just annoyed, and they want something different.
Well, and it's interesting as well because it seems like there are. Well, I guess I don't have a very good idea of it because we live in a conservative state, Utah, and so like 90% of the people I talk to all think the same thing that the conservative, party does. Like we believe in like traditional values and stuff, and it's only every now and then that I run into someone that is like a diehard like liberal, and they just they'll take it to their grave or whatever. Oftentimes I'll run into people that have like one or two like ideas from the liberal party, but I think that's how I was when I came out of high school. Like it's just it's just what they've heard over and over again, and they think that it might be a good idea.
Yeah, and I think that reality is starting to smack a lot of people in the face, especially this woman.
That's awesome. I love that picture.
I feel bad laughing at someone's pain. It's not very Christ-like, but I think the side by side is just so perfect. Like,
it is really good.
You've got the nice liberal lady on the left who says all the nice things and will stand up to mean Trump, and then the one on the right that the before and after
the consequences. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh man, I
shaking that face. Come on.
It's so it's so sad.
She is so sad.
I would be sad too, right? You got to go to jail and you lose your job and all that stuff, and you think you're doing the right thing, but I'm sorry, Dugan, you did not do the right thing. You shouldn't have done it.
Definitely not, Miss Dugan.
Miss Dugan, I'm sorry.
I think a lot of people run into that problem, honestly, is that like I don't know, like we believe what we're told, and basically it all just comes down to who we listen to. And like, just because I choose to listen to like conservative podcasts and stuff, that I tend to just be more and more conservative. Whereas like, I see people around me that choose to consume liberal podcasts and stuff, and they just become more and more liberal. And it's true. Very like, I think it's important to like see that like every argument has two sides, and one side is always going to spin it one way and one side is always going to spin it the other way. I think like the healthiest thing, like to be the most politically healthy, is to like, I don't know, I think it's good to be conservative. I think conservatives have a lot of really good values, but at the same time that you're listening to like conservative podcasts and stuff, like go and look at the actual evidence and make a decision for yourself. What do you think?
Right. Yeah, I actually totally agree with that. So we are talking with Adam right now. We're going to do a little ad break right here. If you haven't liked and subscribed to our channel, please do so. My personal channel, Dan the Eagle, and also our YouTube channel, KMMU. And you got to find us on X, on Rumble, on YouTube. You could also go to our website, KMMU. If you want to call in, I know we have billions of people watching us right now. You can call in right now. My lonely call screener is sitting here depressed. He's sad. He wants someone to call in and yell at him, say mean words to him, and then ask us a really hurtful comment or a question. That's what he wants. But instead, what he's going to get is silence. No one will call in. Please give him a call. The number is 385-899-2134. Again, that is 385-899-2134. You can ask Adam why his door is open. You can ask him why his closet is open. You could ask him why his hair looks so nice. You could ask him all sorts of questions. You could ask me to play a little jig on my guitar. I might not, but you could ask me that. So, Adam, that was a good little ad break. Kind of winged it.
I'm not closing the doors. There's no way.
It's been driving me crazy. But then again, you've got that pull-up bar.
Dude, I got the pull-up bar. It's gotta stay open.
Bro, do you want to do some pull-ups for the stream?
No, not really. It's like really, it's just shoulders. Yeah. So I'm super strong. I could probably do like 40 or 50 in a row, but just not right now. You know, maybe a different stream.
Actually, how many could you do?
Like 10. Like not that many. I mean, like 50.
Yeah. 10 times 5 is what I meant to say.
Like 10 if I was holding like 2 like hulking men on my legs.
Yeah, get my wife to just hold me. I can do that. That's when I can do only 50.
Yeah, 50 is pretty low, honestly. I have to be pretty tired to only make it to 50.
Yeah, and your shoulders hurt right now, so we're not gonna ask you.
It was actually so funny. My brother-in-law, we were at a rodeo, and like they were doing a pull-up competition on the dirt for the ROTC guys, and he turns over to me. He's like, "Hey, Adam, how many pull-ups can you do?" I was like, "I don't know, man, like 10." And he's like, "I can do 15." And I was like, dude.
15's pretty good, dude. It's a mark of a man.
It is pretty good. I just thought it was so funny because I almost turned to him and I was like, "Oh yeah, well I could probably use 16."
You should have.
It's just like I love it. That is like my favorite bit.
Yeah. So, Jordan Peterson, he got interviewed by Joe Rogan. Did you watch it?
No, I haven't seen it.
There's one section of the podcast that I really remember very well, and I think that it has to do with the ugly, sad face that we saw before of this poor woman who thinks that she's being extremely kind. She thinks that she's being extremely empathetic, and she thinks she's doing the right thing. But in fact, she is literally helping a criminal and somebody who hurts other people. And one of the things that Joe Rogan talks about to Jordan Peterson is this exact phenomenon, but in terms of like the left being extremely empathetic. And I just sent you a link, Dwayne, if you want to take it to 44 seconds, and we can play it from there. But basically, they're talking about psychopaths, narcissists, and how they can become parasitic and leach into parts of society where people are extremely empathetic, and the dangers that come from that, and how we're seeing that constantly now that basically women run the country. They run as judges, they're in politics, they run the media, they run TV shows, all this stuff. There hasn't been a real conversation about women being too empathetic to narcissists and psychopaths, and how that can actually cause a lot of serious effects and can be a really bad thing. So Dwayne, if you want to pull that up and go to 44 seconds, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Good video.
Pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually got a lot of thoughts about this. I think that nails what I was thinking about. I couldn't really put it into words.
Okay, play it. 44 seconds, Dwayne, if you want to go to 44. Good
I'm
bingo.
getting the evil spin. Let me go back
you-
to the small screen and see if it'll come up.
Give her a little refresh, maybe.
It really is a thing, like the way that men and women like interpret things and handle problems is so different. And it's so interesting, like after being married and spending a lot more time around a woman and seeing the way that she interprets and solves problems versus the way that I interpret things. It's fascinating, really, because I can talk about something that she would consider a very sensitive subject with no emotion whatsoever.
Because
very
the
objective.
left, right, parasitize.
I want you to hold all
they
your
parasitize-
comments because it sounds like
Yeah.
you've got a lot to say about it. So sounds like we got the clip working.
Empathy. Right, and the left is unbelievably susceptible to that because the left is full of empathic people.
Right.
And so those who parasitize empathy have a field day on the left.
Right, right.
No,
Because
so-
the left is generally thought to be more educated, more compassionate, kinder, looking out for marginalized people. That's part of the ethics of it all.
The ethic is pretty straightforward. Anything that cries is a baby. It's like, no, some things that cry are monsters.
Ooh.
Right, right. Well, let's take the case of Nicola Sturgeon, the Scottish Prime Minister, the previous Scottish Prime Minister. Any man who wants to can be a woman. It's like, okay, any man. You mean any man, do you? Yeah. Have you encountered the nightmare men? Oh, they don't exist. They're all victims. Yeah. You just bloody well wait till you encounter one. You'll change your story very rapidly. And for the naive and sheltered empaths of the radical left, they're either psychopaths, so they're wolves in sheep clothing, or they're people that are so naive that the what would you say, Red Riding Hood's grandmother can definitely have his way with them.
Yes, that's
Right.
literally something that I use as an example in my Netflix special. I said that I think there are people that feel like they're trapped in a woman's body, and then there's also people that are out of their fucking mind. They're crazy, and that
they're
all
not
throughout
just crazy.
history. But what I pointed out all throughout history, when you wanted to make like a killer in a movie scarier, you put him in a dress, like Norman Bates in Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, and I'd use the big bad wolf. I'm like, it's literally a wolf dressed up like a woman. Like that's literally what it is, and they've somehow or another completely abandoned this one aspect of masculinity that's one of the more terrifying, is the predatory pervert. And they've given the predatory pervert a privileged position.
Right, right.
And that's
That's Eve's,
one
that's
of
Eve's
the
sin, by the way.
one of the craziest things about it is they've completely abandoned the idea of the pedophile
monster.
and then the monster and the sexual pervert and then the attacker, the assaulter, the person who when you give a guy, you say all you have to do is say you're a woman. Now you have access to
You have
whatever
license.
women's spaces.
Yeah.
All the women's spaces. You could victimize them. You
Yeah.
could fight them. You could beat them in sports. You could dominate them in all games. It's bizarre. Bizarre that no one's caught on to that. And that's
For sure.
the weirder, that's the more cult-like and even you could say religious aspect of leftist thinking.
It's an original sin. Eve clutches the serpent to her breast. It's like, that's a serpent.
Right.
It's poison.
Yeah.
You don't get to love it.
Right.
Right. It's a monster.
Right.
Right,
It's a
and-
guy wearing a dress with an erection. The
Yeah.
women's
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That was a good spot to cut.
Good place to cut.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man, good guy with the erection. That's a good place to cut it. So,
Dude in the dress.
I want to give it
Yes.
to you because you have a lot to say about this. Go for it.
Yeah, what's the prompt? Just like what I was
So-
talking about before.
Yeah, I can set it up a little bit if you want. I thought you kind of had something to say.
Well, yeah, we were talking about the way that women view everything as babies and like they attach emotion to everything. And this is a good thing in a lot of cases. You need women because of the way that they are. We shouldn't like try and put them down for the way that they are, but we need to use that empathy that they have for like little things and like that love that they have in productive ways. There are times where you need to be empathetic, and there are times where you need to be extremely logical and pretty cold. And I think that guys are a lot better at doing that. There are some women, of course, there's always some on both sides, but generally men can be very logical and disconnect their feelings from their thoughts. And so I can talk about something with my wife that to her can like be very hurtful, but to me it's just I'm speaking about this objectively. Like I'm not attaching my feelings to this. I can if I need to, but right now I'm separating my feelings from the issue at hand. And this is the case, and like I explained my point, and she has a really hard time a lot of the time like disconnecting her emotions from that. And so I just think it's very interesting how their emotions dictate a lot of the decisions that they make. So like Eve clutching the serpent to her breast, it's like she doesn't see the serpent as this evil, terrible thing as much as she sees it as like, oh, it's a victim, and like it doesn't even have arms or legs. Like I need to help it. So that's definitely the case. And I see how like liberals do this with so much stuff. They just make everything into a victim, and women almost can't resist. It's like heroin to like help the thing that is dying or that is like on life support. I just need to help it. I need to help it. Whereas guys they do a little bit better job at looking at something objectively and being like, that's a bad idea. Like you can't just let guys into the girls' restroom because they say that they're a girl. That's stupid. But then girls are like, oh, but he's so, poor guy. Like he thinks he's a girl. And I feel for him so much. Again, I'm not trying to put women down in this case, but this is a great case where women would benefit from listening to men. Like we should always be listening to each other. We shouldn't let men be over domineering, and we shouldn't let women be over empathetic. If we work together, we can see through all the obstacles. We can be more empathetic to the people that actually need it, and we can be logical and exclusive to the things that are I love that comment. We can be logical and exclusive to things that need to be.
Yeah. Quit mansplaining, Adam. You're making too much sense.
All right, let me start womansplaining. I feel like
you made it so much worse. Hey, but you're already married. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't find it to be a coincidence that as women have become more and more prominent in society with movies, TV shows, leadership roles, judges, all these things, that we're having this problem in our society where narcissistic, sadistic monsters are posing as victims and acting like children, and we're falling for it for society because these are the ideas that are being pushed. And Jordan Peterson goes on and on about this specific thing, about how it's a man's job to actually point out where the monsters are. It's a man's job to be able to say that right there is a monster. And it's interesting because he says babies cry, but so do monsters. And like you mentioned, the woman's instinct is just to take care of things, which we all know is a good thing. Every single person on this planet understands that a mother's empathy for her child or for little things that need help is amazing, and it's godly, 100%. But if that is unconstrained and it goes out into the world, it will take the narcissist and bring them in. And the reason I got this clip is because you see that in this woman, the Dugan lady, where she accepts the premise that this man who played music loudly, punched a man 30 times till he almost died, and hurt a woman is still a victim because she has bought into the narrative that anybody who's illegal is just a poor little baby. And so you see the exact same thing. You see the dismissal of any kind of crime because, oh, what a cute little baby, I can't take care of it. And until we realize this as a society and really start to talk about it more, wokeness will not die. wokeness will keep coming back because all wokeness is weaponized empathy. So until we realize that this is a problem and we really address it, I don't see wokeness ever going away. What are your thoughts?
Totally. I totally agree. And this reminds me of when I did jury duty just recently. I think I told you about this. One of the jurors, juror number 8, if you're listening, I love you, juror number 8. There's nothing wrong with this. But she was talking about the testimony of one of the police officers that was assaulted by this guy that we're like deliberating about. And she mentioned the part where he started like getting emotional about the experience. And she's like, I don't think there's any way that he could be lying because I feel like he was telling the truth. I could just see how emotional he was, and it felt like it was probably the truth. And the rest of it, and she made like this whole point. She went off into like, this is why we need women as jurors so that we can like feel things and not be so focused on the facts. And I think a lot of the jurors all looked at each other like, okay, like maybe to some extent that's important, but our entire job is the facts. Our entire job is to look at the factual evidence and not whether he was crying or not while he gave his little like recounting of the experience, but to look at like what actually happened and what we can say with a near certainty is the case. So I thought that was like a perfect example of like how you can over empathize and forget about the actual like problem at hand.
Exactly. And we shouldn't hold that against women for having that ability because it is godly. I really believe that it is. It just has to be constrained. It cannot be for a monster. It can't be for a monster. You can have no empathy for a monster because it will kill you and it will kill your children.
Well, and that's the difference between like men and women, right? Is that women are like kind of unconstrained in a way, and men are too constrained, too restrictive, too strict, rigid. I would say rigid and flexible is like the difference between men and women. I heard someone talking about this. I don't remember who. Might have been Ben Shapiro, who's talking about Iran and Iraq and how just in the 80s they had clothes like the women would dress like the American women do now, and like that was totally normal and it was fine and there was no like real gender disparity. And then it went too far and the Iraqi or Iranian men just took over everything, and now they're all in burqas. All the women are in burqas, and like it is men that control everything, and now it's way too strict. That's like the polar opposite of our society right now.
Yeah, I would say that has a lot more to do with Islam, but yes,
that's true.
I do get your point. I do get your point that like men can be too rigid, and I find myself like in that camp fairly often. Like I'll watch a movie and I'm way too objective about it. I'm like, well, this part was wrong, and then this scene was bad, and then the dialogue here was, incongruent with previous statements. And you watch a movie with a girl, and she's like, "But it's cute. I had fun." You're like, "Ugh."
That's kind of true. Yeah, like I did have fun, and that's the point of the movie. So
exactly, and it's like, well, maybe I should just like loosen up a little bit.
Just chill out. Yeah, it's so true.
Every single man and
we've all got our issues.
Knows exactly that we're saying is true. Every single man and woman understands this. Feminism, however, has corrupted our brains into denying reality, denying facts, denying that men and women are different, and that's good, and that men have issues and that women have issues, and neither one can be unconstrained. The problem that we have, and I really hope this starts to break down, is that we are not allowed to criticize women. We can't do it. Anything a woman wants, she gets. Anything a woman says is the truth. I mean, 2017, the Me Too movement, believe all women. That was an actual movement. And we haven't had any kind of thing that says believe all men. It just doesn't exist. And so culturally, we need to just get over this fear of criticizing women and criticizing too much femininity, because clearly it can go too far.
Totally. Recently, my wife and I have been watching a bunch of movies from like the 1940s and 50s.
Hold on a second. Dwayne, what's going on?
I think he said he's got a post that you liked.
Yeah,
he wanted you to read.
Read the clip. It's
Okay.
kind of.
Can you unhighlight it? I can't see it if you highlight it. This clip from Dr. Jordan Peterson's appearance on Joe Rogan is critical if you want to understand the parasitical behavior of the left and how it draws in empathic people who are susceptible to prioritizing empathy, particularly on the transgender issue, an absolute must watch. Yep. We basically already said all that in a lot more words. But thank you. Anyways, Adam, continue what you were saying.
Well, I just thought it was really interesting. I was watching like a lot of these movies from like the 1940s and 50s and watching how the men act. And it's like baffling to me because I've never seen men act that way in my entire life. My dad has always been
How did
super
they act?
like in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Like just way more confident and like on equal ground with women, not like women were something to be praised. They would often call out women for things that they said that were wrong or that they did badly or whatever. And like I don't know, they had so much more moral character and manliness, I would say. Like my dad, as well as the dads of like all of my friends, are super effeminate. Like our whole parents' generation, all the men that I've really talked with and seen, I know they're maybe I've got like a bad like slice of the pie or something. Maybe I just happen to run into all of the effeminate ones. But it seems like the men from our parents' generation are super effeminate. Like they just let everything fly and women are on pedestals and men have no say in anything. And it's really like kind of sickening. And I don't know, like it's difficult for me to understand how I'm supposed to act and who I'm supposed to be as a man because I'm seeing two conflicting ideas. I'm seeing like the 40s and the 50s, my grandparents, like my grandpa is just very, very masculine and like he knows his place and my grandma knows her place and like they get along perfectly. They work together. And then seeing my parents is the complete opposite. Like they're totally in disarray. They don't know who's supposed to be masculine and who's supposed to be feminine. And oftentimes the roles are reversed and it's just so like uncomfortable to watch. And you can see like, I mean, my parents got divorced and I think that was the main reason, was just this complete imbalance of roles, of gender roles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that's really hard to change too, because it's been one of those things that, I mean, since the 60s, basically, we have tipped all of it on its head. And I think that that's partially why people like Andrew Tate are so attractive to young men, because we've been sold this idea for years now, for decades, that we need to just submit to whatever our wives say. And I'm sure that you heard this all the time when you were working door to door. I heard this every single day. Happy wife, happy life, right? You talk to a guy and it's like, I can't do anything without my wife's approval. And I don't necessarily
Or let me go
disagree.
get the boss.
Yeah, exactly. It was like they'd say that and it'd kind of be like, we all get that's the truth. But like, because I can't do anything that might upset my wife, who's very sensitive about all sorts of stuff. And like, I get that idea that like you want to compromise and like work together on stuff. But it does seem like, what are men supposed to do then? Like, we're just supposed to say, okay, babe, whatever you want. And the
There's
interesting
little
thing
money
is
machines.
yeah, like men still provide for families by and large. I think like 80% of marriages, the man still is the breadwinner, but he's not allowed to actually like lead or be the head of the home because she has to be. But like, it's a very interesting dynamic and it's all flipped on its head. And I really think that the next battle for our culture is going to be feminism. And we need to take it head on. And we need to not shy away from saying that men and women are different and we have different places in society. And it never excuses bad behavior on men's part, but it definitely doesn't excuse bad behavior on women's part.
Totally. Agree 100%.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Yeah, my argument's the best.
No, that was a good conversation. I know me and you have talked about that like a ton. And I would not want anyone to act like Andrew Tate because he is the worst. He is like the epitome of bad masculinity. But I don't want anyone to act like, you know, our dads who just kind of were like, yes, ma'am, yes, dear, do whatever your wife says. There's got to be something good in the middle. And I really feel like what the church teaches is ideal, that the man is supposed to preside and protect, and the woman is supposed to nurture. And the sooner you can accept those roles, the happier you're going to be. The sooner you pretend like those roles don't exist, you're going to be extremely, extremely, extremely unhappy.
I think so too. Yeah,
Okay,
what he said.
Yeah, let's talk about the movie we watched. So Adam and I, we've been playing this game called World of Warships. It's all about battleships and boats. It's a lot of fun. And
Just a heads up, I do have to go really soon.
Like right now?
Like I could do like 5 minutes talking about boat movie.
We'll go really fast then. So we watched this submarine movie called, what is it? U-571. U-571. It's based in World War II. It's a very good movie. I highly recommend it. I think you should go and watch it. Adam, what were your thoughts on the movie and what's the rating you would give it?
I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I thought it was, I don't think any movie is perfect, but I thought that movie was pretty darn good. It was perfect for what it's trying to be. I just thought it was awesome. Such a good movie. Like really like followable plot. Very I don't know, like as a man, like it helps you see like what men are built for. That's the best way I can describe it.
I agree. I felt like the whole time we were watching, I was like, man, these are men. These are men. This is what men should be. We should be out there defending the freaking country, doing hard things, giving our lives for something. Not sitting in a freaking office, clicking away on our keyboards or
coding. I mean, who does that? Probably only losers.
What a freaking nerd. I would give the movie
who would ever be a software engineer?
I'd give the movie probably like a 9 out of 10. And yeah, I thought it was a really good movie as well. I can't give it a 10 because I think the CGI in that one scene is just horrendous.
Exactly. It's
terrible. And I think that sometimes the story is like a little murky to follow. Like you're not quite sure what submarine is what, but those are pretty minor details. But go and watch that movie. No one called in to our show, 385-899-2134. You've got 3 minutes left with Adam. 3 minutes.
You can ask me why my doors are open. I probably won't tell you.
You can ask Adam any question you want. Probably not going to get anybody, though. No one has called in yet. Maybe one day they will. We have billions and billions and billions of listeners. Right now, we only have 1 billion
just one
listeners.
Of them.
Yeah, just one. But if you haven't liked and subscribed to our channel, you have to do it. You have to or you're canceled. You have to or you're banned. You have to like. You have to subscribe. Leave a comment, too. If the comment is extremely offensive, we'll read it on air because that's just who we are. And
those are the best ones.
And if there's nothing else, Adam, I will wrap it up. Do you got anything else to say?
No, that's about it. Should we have a closing prayer?
Brother Lind. Well, thanks, everybody. We will see you next week at 4:30 on Wednesday. We will have another guest. Who knows who is it going to be? Might be Adam again. Who knows if he gets requested? But it's going to be a lot of fun. We will see you then.